What's going on, YouTube? This is the SG1 Sports YouTube channel, and we've got our power rankings for the ACC here in today's video. We've seen a little bit of a shakeup at the top. Since the season started, we have seen a shakeup at the top. I do have a new number 2 team this week, and the bottom, hasn't really changed that much. We're going to start out with number 14, the Virginia Cavaliers. They are not looking too good as they lose to Indiana in a blowout. And you have to wonder, are they going to be able to get a conference win this year? I think maybe they can get one. They'll pull one out somewhere. There are some teams down here towards the bottom that are not very good. It's not just them, and we'll get to those in just a minute. But yeah, Virginia comes in at number 14. We'll see if they can bounce back after that loss to Indiana. And it's been a disappointing start to the season for them. I thought that they would compete a little bit better in that game, but yeah, it was a blowout. So let's go on now to the number 13 team, and it is the Syracuse Orange. Syracuse comes out and loses to Middle Tennessee. That was one of the upset alert games we had, and that's just not going to cut it. If you're going to be, a Power 5 program, if you're going to get back to winning, you cannot lose those types of games. And Syracuse so far not looking too good. They got a tough one against Central Michigan this weekend, and they could potentially lose that one as well. So that's going to be a big game for them. They really need to win it, and if they don't, it could really turn their whole season, get it going downhill fast. So let's go down to number 12. We got the Boston College Eagles. I thought this team was going to be a little bit better than what they showed last week. They lost to Wake Forest. They didn't even keep it close. I thought this team was going to be competitive. I think I had them pulling off an upset or two maybe throughout the season. So I'm disappointed with this team. They had that close win over Northern Illinois in week 1. And then last week they just did not show up at all, as Wake Forest, a team that looks very impressive so far, just blew them out. So we have Boston College at number 12. And the next team at number 11, they are dropping, and they are dropping fast. It is the North Carolina Tar Heels. They come in at number 11. They're 0-2. They had a disappointing game against Cal, a game that they maybe could have won, but at the end of the day, they did not get it done. And then last week against Louisville, you could tell this team, they were playing as hard as they could. They were giving it their all. They were fired up. And it still wasn't enough to stop Lamar Jackson and that Louisville offense. The defense just really is not very good for this team. Offense has been pretty good. They maybe still haven't figured out that quarterback situation just yet, but they're all the way down here at number 11. And then we go up to number 10, a team that is dropping as well, Pittsburgh. Week 1, they go to overtime with Youngstown State. You think, well, maybe it's just week 1. Let's see how they do against Penn State. Well, they did not look good at all against Penn State. Granted, Penn State is a very good opponent, but still, Pitt they look like they have dropped off a good bit from last year. So we'll see if they can get it turned around. I still think North Carolina and Pittsburgh both have the potential to maybe get things turned around and have decent seasons, but as of now, they are down here towards the bottom of our power rankings. All right, so a team that is trending up at number 9, we've got the Duke Blue Devils. And how about that impressive performance that they put on Saturday against Northwestern? They went out and just demolished them. I mean, it wasn't even close. I picked that upset to happen, but did not expect it to be a blowout. Northwestern seems to have their own issues right now. But Duke is on a roll so far. That offense is looking very, very good. We'll see if it can continue against some tougher competition, but right now you can't overlook this Duke team in the ACC, as they look to be one of the better teams possibly. Another team that's a little bit of a surprise at number 8, the Wake Forest Demon Deacons. Again, they went out against Boston College and just dominated that game start to finish. They really looked impressive. This team is on a roll right now, and they're looking to build off of last year, which is a pretty successful season. I didn't know if they'd be able to match that, but they may do better than they did last year. And this could be a contender in the ACC as well. So we're going to have to watch this Wake Forest team. They look very impressive, and that's why I've got them up here at number 8. Still, middle of the pack, but they have the opportunity to rise up here in these rankings if they continue to win. Number 7, the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets. They took care of business this weekend against Jacksonville State. But this is probably more due to the fact that they really dominated against Tennessee. Should have won that game. A couple of turnovers late in the game really cost them. But I think Georgia Tech has a real shot to win the Coastal Division. I think it's going to be between Miami, Virginia Tech, and Georgia Tech, based on what I've seen so far, which we really haven't seen much out of Miami. But we're just going to assume that they're going to be a pretty good team, or one of the better teams there in the ACC. So Georgia Tech at number 7. Another team that lost in week 1, we have them at number 6. It's NC State. A lot of people maybe think that this team's not going to be as good as we thought after that loss to South Carolina. But I still think this team has plenty of talent. The defense is pretty good. Ryan Finley has looked very good through 2 games, and they got some playmakers around him. So I look for NC State to still be one of these teams in the ACC, one of the better teams. They got off to a little bit of a slow start this past weekend against Marshall, but in the end they did pull away and win that game pretty easily. So got NC State at number 6. Let's see who is in our top 5, or who will start things off in our top 5. The number 5 team is the Miami Hurricanes. And yeah, they've dropped for me, but it's really just because we haven't seen them play. I know it's not fair, but it's tough to judge this team. They kind of started a little bit slow against Bethune-Cookman, and that's the only game we have seen. So I've got them at number 5, but it's really more due to the fact that they just have not played since that game. And once we see them against, I don't know who they'll even play next since the Florida State game got moved, but whoever they play next, we'll see hopefully more about this team and how good they really are. But for now, we got to keep them down at number 5. Number 4, just ahead of them, is the Virginia Tech Hokies. They had that impressive win over West Virginia in week 1. The defense looks to be pretty good. Jackson at quarterback has come in and played very well for them. They struggled a little bit here this past weekend on offense against an FCS opponent, but I think they'll be fine on that side of the ball. At least I don't think that's going to hurt them or cost them any games. I think they're going to be good enough there with the good defense to where they should compete in every game in the ACC. I believe they have Clemson at home coming up. If I'm not mistaken, that should be a good one. Looking forward to that one. Number 3, Florida State. This is a tough one to figure out because they look very good against Alabama through 2.5 quarters, and they give up a big play. They kind of self-destructed in that game. And then DeAndre Francois goes out with the injury. We haven't seen them play since then, so it's very tough to judge Florida State. But because of that defense, I'm going to keep them at number 3 until I see them play, see how they look without Francois. And they'll be off again this weekend because of that Miami game moving. So it's going to take a little time to figure out this Florida State team. So the team that I've moved up to number 2 is the Louisville Cardinals, as they got a big win against North Carolina. That offense just looks so good. Lamar Jackson looks even better than last year. The defense, so-so. They're not looking great on that side of the ball. And I really can't figure out this game against Clemson. I can't figure out which way. I think Clemson may come in and just dominate that game. But then another part of me says Louisville at home, it's a blackout at night. They're going to be fired up. They're going to be ready to pull off the upset. So I don't know, but I've got them at number 2 for now. We'll see how they play against Clemson. If they go out and get blown out, they obviously will drop on this list. And that goes to our number 1 team, the Clemson Tigers. And you can't really put anybody else here. This team has looked very good through 2 games. The defense was dominant against Auburn. Week 1, Kent State, it was an easy opponent, but they still went out and took care of business. Kelly Bryant, he looks like the real deal at quarterback. That's the reason I'm so much higher on this team than I was. I knew the defense was going to be good. I knew what they had on that side of the ball. But if you watch the spring game, they didn't seem to have a quarterback. But Kelly Bryant has come in and looked very impressive for them. So I think they are for sure the front runner in the ACC. But if Louisville can knock them off Saturday, Louisville could have a real chance to get to the ACC championship. Because Clemson, then if they slip up and lose again to somebody, they're pretty much done. And Louisville really in the driver's seat. So we'll see how it plays out Saturday night. That's going to be a fun one. I can't wait to watch that game. And we'll see how our power rankings change after this coming up, after this weekend. I still think Clemson will probably, obviously if they win that game, they're still going to be number 1. If they lose and it's a close game, they may just flip-flop and just drop to number 2. We'll see. It's going to depend on how they look, not just whether or not they win or not, is what I'm trying to say. So Clemson at number 1. These are our ACC power rankings heading into week 3 of the college football season. It should be a fun weekend. So have fun watching college football this weekend, and stay tuned for more here on the SG1 Sports YouTube channel.